Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Creepshow Joe took a few questions after his COVID remarks yesterday. Oh, and by the way, he may be more of a creepshow than we even knew if what is asserted to be contained in that Ashley Biden diary the FBI is investigating is true. I won't digress, but some serious allegations allegedly contained in that Ashley Biden diary about Joe Biden's behavior as her father. And I'll just leave it there. Joe Biden on the Build Back Better flameout, now that Manchin is a firm no. But Goldman Sachs said we should do it.
All the talk about how my Build Back Better plan was going to increase inflation, going to cause these debts and all the like. What happened? Goldman Sachs and others said, if we don't pass Build Back Better, we're in trouble because it's going to grow the economy. Without it, we're not going to grow. And what happened? Stock prices went way down. It took a real dip.
Thanks a lot, Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, Trumponomics author, and economist. Now we're not going to grow because we don't have Build Back Better.
Well,
Goldman Sachs said so,
morning.
Steve.
Good morning, guys, and Merry Christmas. And boy, that was a great Christmas present, by the way. Joe Manchin, right now, is my hero for being a voice, one singular voice of sanity in the Democratic Party. And how sad is it that there is no other? You have 250 Democrats in the Congress, and only one in the House and one in the Senate, has spoken out against the worst bill in 40 years that would be so destructive to our freedoms and our free enterprise system and our economy. Goldman Sachs is their source for, what's going to cause the economy to grow. Goldman Sachs, a bunch of bond traders. Of course they want the government to borrow more. They make money every time the government borrows and borrows and borrows. And look, if you really believe that borrowing $3 trillion more money and spending $5 trillion more money we don't have is going to make the economy grow faster, I think you got to have your head examined. This is a bill. I am worried. I don't want to be too celebratory here because I am worried that Biden is going to try to make a deal with Manchin in January for a Slim Jim version of this bill. And I'm here to tell you, there's not one single feature of that bill, one single feature that is pro-economic growth, pro-freedom, pro-free enterprise. The entire bill, it should be, we've got to stick a stake through the heart of that bill. We have to bury it. We have to pour salt on the soil so it never comes back. That's my attitude. And, I am kind of proud. We led a big coalition called Save America, Kill the Bill. And we've made a lot of progress on this. The American people have turned against it.
Well, in your opinion, why did Joe Manchin turn against it?
Boy, that's a tough question. I think, because there's no state that's a bigger loser from this bill than West Virginia. West Virginia is a coal-producing state. It's a natural gas-producing state. And those jobs would be completely eviscerated by this. I love how Joe Biden was asked, or someone in the White House was asked a question about, well, what about all the workers in, West Virginia that are going to be put out of jobs? We're going to turn them out. They're going to make solar panels. And people in West Virginia just laugh at that.
I mean, this is akin to.
We're getting rid of, Amy, we're getting rid of talk radio, but you know what? You can make solar panels.
I mean, this is akin to Hillary Clinton saying that coal miners are going to have to learn to code.
Exactly.
And so this is the position of the left.
Point. I think that here's what really happened in West Virginia. This is a bill that is opposed by 70% of the people, and
there you go.
Quite correctly. He just quite correctly said, "Look, this is not in the interest of my state." And I know Bette Midler thinks that these are people who have three fingers and can't read.
But, so rude.
Disgusting, arrogant thing. I mean, these are the same liberals who say they care so much about working class people, and this is their true. I mean, Bette Midler's kind of accidentally told the truth. This is what the elite of America think of places like Kentucky and West Virginia. They think they are, reprehensible creatures who live in these states.
Well, and the other thing, I mean, the benefit, Joe Manchin here, now he's juxtaposed against the likes of Bolshevik Bernie and Bolshevik AOC. And I mean, those two, if they showed up in West Virginia, would get run out of town on a rail, run out of the state on a rail. So, I mean, he couldn't position himself any better politically.
Bernie says he wants to go to West Virginia.
Go ahead.
I want to see that. I mean, and so does AOC. She says that there are more people in her district than the 900,000 people who live in West Virginia. So it's amazing the heap of attacks against Manchin and people from West Virginia for wanting to actually produce things rather than collect government benefits, and so it looks like it's mostly dead, but it's not completely dead. And they want to come back in January, and we've got to fight like hell to make sure that doesn't work.
You're talking about working people. I don't like to talk in the parlance of class, but middle-income working people. There's an interesting observation from a friend of our show, Batya Ungar Sargon, who's an author of a great book about the media called Bad News, How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy. And from an interview she gave recently in Spike, she said about this, and Bette Midler's a good example of it, and this should not be forgotten, even though Trump is not on the ballot next year. And I'm sure Trump won't let people forget it, but probably won't say it in this way. Here's what she said. Trump was what liberals imagine a working class person would be if they came into money. They would obviously get a golden toilet and buy a model wife. He was a perfect aesthetic encapsulation of white liberal elite angst about what the working classes are imagined to want. And in fact, she talked about the hundreds and hundreds of Trump voters she interviewed, and she said most of the ones she talked to wanted Trump to stop tweeting, wanted him to be more dignified. She writes, the idea that working class people were in it for all the gross commentary was just wrong. But the media, of course, could not get enough of it. So liberals totally missed what Trump was about and what made him successful, which was the hunger for economic populism among the working class.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I wrote that in my book, Trumponomics. A whole chapter about what is this Trump phenomenon about? It is really about, it was basically America. When I say working class, by the way, I mean people who actually make things. By the way, if you hear pounding in the background, that's because we've got some carpenters actually doing work in our house, actually building things, not people who think great thoughts. I had a debate of last month with this arrogant liberal professor. I'm not going to say what university, but I said, well, why should you pull down $280,000 a year? You don't do it. She says. I said, what do you do for the country? She said, I think great thoughts. And I'm like,
oh my gosh!
Tell me one great thought that you've come up with.
That's awesome.
And so, by the way, you see this too in the reaction to the founder of Tesla, Elon Musk. And I love how you saw what. Who was it? Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. She's a freeloader. Yeah, right.
She said the other day, he's a freeloader. Now, it is true that he did get a lot of government subsidy money, although he's off of it. He's given up smoking, so he's not. But here's a guy. You know how much tax he's going to pay next year?
$11 billion, right?
$7 billion of taxes, and he's a freeloader. What about her? What has she ever done? All she's ever done. Who's the freeloader? All she's ever done is work for universities and work for the government. And so there is this attitude of superiority of the left, which I find so, the arrogance of this, that they not only believe that they're intellectually, culturally, and morally superior to us, and they're not. They're not. What do
they think that they are. And I think that they feel guilty that they have all this money, and they need to do something with it.
Well, that's a big part of it. That's kind of the glitterati of the left, the people who've made it big. Bette Midler really expresses the view of a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of the people in Hollywood or the cultural institutions who they thumb their nose at people who watch, drag racing and don't go to to the ballet.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the working class, quote unquote, doesn't appreciate that Bette Midler is the wind beneath their wings. See what I did there?
Yeah.
So, Steve, let's talk about regular people again, like Amy and me. Where are we with any sort of relief from the supply chain issues, from the unfilled jobs that power the economy in private industry? Where are we with that in your estimation?
Well, that's a good question too. It's hard to measure right now because, for example, I was supposed to leave tomorrow to come to Chicago for Christmas, as I most always do, and now it looks like we may not be coming because of COVID. And one or two people in the family might be sick, and so nobody can come, and everybody's going to, And I am worried about people overreacting to this. I would hope that the one thing that we've learned from the last 2 years is that lockdowns are ineffective. And I'm not saying people shouldn't be safe. I mean, I think social distancing and even I don't have a big problem with wearing masks, although I got to tell you, the evidence is very flimsy on masks.
Right.
I mean, masks have maybe a very, very, very small effect on the spread of the virus. But I am worried about closures of businesses and people just not going out. And we can't live in fear. We can't live in fear. Come on, man up, America. Let's go. Get on with your life. Don't do stupid things. But we cannot let the small businesses of America take another walloping like they did in 2020. We've got to be smart about this. Europe is shutting down.
I know.
Many of the countries in Europe are shutting down now. We cannot do that. That is my New Year's wish. We've got to soldier on here, folks, and let's not be wimps about this.
Yeah, but President Biden, he said yesterday, about lockdowns and schools should remain open, but I don't trust him. The fact that he even said it yesterday got me. I mean, my blood pressure was through the roof yesterday because they were talking about remote learning. Well, they're doing it at University of Illinois for your first week,
Exactly.
they claim. But they're talking about it for CPS, for Chicago Public Schools. If a school has a large number of outbreaks, they're going to remote learning.
You were exactly right, Amy, and that's happening. I live in Maryland right now, and about 2 or 3 of the major school districts in the state have already decided they're not reopening in January.
It's
so
so
this
stupid.
is, have we learned nothing? I mean, the damage that we did, every single study that's come out on education performance over the last, for the student achievement is showing kids really suffered from being at home and not being, in a classroom. And let's not do that again. Can you imagine another 6 months of, young people not going on without an education? But we had to send, by the way, we were so worried about more closures. We're sending our kids to Catholic schools now. And my wife isn't even Catholic because at least they stay open.
There you go. He is.
And by the way, who's leading? Dan, who do you think is leading the charge to keep the schools shut?
The teachers' union.
The unions.
Of course.
Do they not want to teach?
Of course. I mean, we've been in this stasis for 2 years, and there's no end in sight. But, Steve, I do appreciate that your holiday message is much more proactive and uplifting, man up America, than Joe Biden's, which is get ready for a season of sickness and death. So I do appreciate that. That's you're much more positive. We do appreciate that.
Yeah,
Steve Moore.
My last word of advice is whatever Anthony Fauci says, do the opposite.
There you go. There you go. Steve Moore, Trumponomics author, economist, Wall Street Journal columnist. Steve, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thanks. You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hallelujah! Holy
On AM 560.
Where's the Tylenol?
The Answer.
I've got the perfect place for you for that perfect holiday gift. Mike Gallagher here, inviting you to give a gift from Roland's Jewelers. Create that magical holiday moment. You know buying jewelry is about trust. Well, Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville is a place you can trust. I do. I'm a customer. Visit Roland's. Give that special someone a beautifully crafted engagement ring from designer Simon G. or a diamond necklace or earrings from Italian designer Roberto Coin. How about a Tag Heuer watch, known for their cutting-edge technology? or prestigious pre-owned Rolex. Roland staff is expertly trained to assist you with outstanding customer service, earning a 5-star Google rating. Now that's impressive. Visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville, or just go to RolandsJewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS, RolandsJewelers.com, or call them 847-918-7300. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust.
All right, let's talk about some money. Let's talk about life quotes. Do you own a term life insurance policy? If so, you might be able to convert all or part of your own term life policy into a permanent plan that could give you level premiums for life. Get this, without any health questions or medical exams. It's easy to see if you're eligible. The consultation is free. Just call Life Quotes Helpline at 800-640-5433. Life Quote Helpline. The number again, 800-640-5433.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now. But if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these